Well, as we begin a Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show, we are standing by for what Attorney General Pam Bondi promises will be at some point today, the release of flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein's private plane to his Lolita Island. Just because you're on the plane doesn't mean you participated in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. But I think, without me mentioning the name of a prominent local citizen, many of you who have a familiarity with the case and the associations of Jeffrey Epstein and major endeavors that have been financed in Columbus, Ohio, will be highly interested, as will I be, to see if a certain local person's name is on those flight logs. So if and when they are released, if they're done so in the next 2 hours, we will jump from whatever we're doing at the time to that. Otherwise, an Ohio woman appears to be poised on the cusp of a favorable ruling by the Supreme Court. She alleges that she was denied a promotion by, I believe, the Ohio Department of Youth and Family Services. Yeah, the Ohio Department of Youth Services, because she's straight, not gay. And it looks like she's going to get a favorable Supreme Court ruling, and she may even get a unanimous Supreme Court ruling. But let's start with something we talked about a lot, something that was glorified prior to Donald Trump returning to the White House, and something that has become increasingly apparent to me is going to be, despite Donald Trump's executive order outlawing it, a very difficult parasite to kill. If you have an infestation in your home, some sort of a pest that is doing damage, could be termites, could be mice, rats, whatever, it's best to catch it early. It is best to eradicate it before the problem reproduces and multiplies. We have not done that in this country with diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. These programs are embedded into virtually every public sector institution, into our universities, both public and private, into every aspect of corporate America. And even though there have been, in the last, year and a half, maybe, Supreme Court rulings, and now the return to the White House of Donald Trump, who said we will be returning to a merit-based economy, it is not simply going to be that easy. No Supreme Court ruling, no stroke of a pen from the commander-in-chief is going to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. They are going to hide just like pests hide in your home. They don't come out and say, "Here I am. Can I stay?" No. This is clear to me from a couple different stories today, two of which are, well, all three of which are in the dispatch, two of which talk about Ohio colleges and universities, what they're doing with their DEI programs. What Republicans hope to do with Senate Bill 1, which would introduce academic diversity to campuses in Ohio. And the other story with the profile of the new head of the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. Where shall we start? Let's start with the new Columbus Chamber of Commerce head. The chief executive is a gentleman by the name of Derek R. Clay. Mr. Clay, you're welcome to come on my show and defend statements that you make, broad generalizations that you make, that have no supporting evidence in them at all. Chief among them, which of course is buried deep in the story because the dispatches of like mind with you on the importance of DEI. Here's the comment. You can't have a thriving economy, Derek Clay says, if you don't have diversity, equity, and inclusion. You can't. You statistically can't. That is the kind of all-encompassing statement that cries out for evidentiary support. Is there any? No, there is not. There's none. There's zero. You cannot have a thriving economy if you don't have diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, let me see. How long would you say we've had a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States of America? Pretty much everything that's racialized in America dates to the election of Barack Obama as president in 2008, which was supposed to be proof that we were getting away from a focus on race, that the election of the first black president in the United States of America proved that America had come a long way from its very troubled past when it came to race. From the era of slavery, from Jim Crow after that, from discrimination that no doubt still remained in many sectors, but it became publicly shameful to be racist in any way once Barack Obama ascended to the White House. And the fact that he ascended to the White House and defeated John McCain, a war hero, a former prisoner of war, which used to be a ticket to the White House from everybody from Ulysses S. Grant to John F. Kennedy, George Washington, no, before Grant, George Washington to John F. Kennedy. If you were a war hero, you had an inside lane if you ran for president. Barack Obama didn't serve in the U.S. Armed Forces. John McCain did. John McCain was horrifically mistreated as a prisoner of war. Barack Obama won the presidency. And while I didn't vote for Barack Obama, I thought, you know, the very best thing that can come from this is that we stop looking at everything through a racial prism. But then, unfortunately, that is really when, more so in 2012 than in 2008, we started to look at, because Obama was desperate to get reelected in 2012, we started to look at everything through a racial prism. He racialized Trayvon Martin's death. He racialized the shooting of police officers in Dallas, Texas. He racialized a break-in at a professor's home in the Ivy League. He racialized everything. And we started this inexorable, awful descent back into looking at everything through a prism of race. Derek Clay is African American. He is, despite his protestations, clearly a Democrat and clearly a partisan, which is why he backs diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know his qualifications for this job. I'm going to presume they have absolutely nothing to do with his race. He, of course, makes the case that even though he served as a Democratic lobbyist and an Ohio campaign director for Al Gore's 2000 presidential campaign, that his partisanship only involves being partisan for the business community. He says, we have members in the Columbus Chamber that are Democrats. We have members that are Republicans, Libertarians. We're the advocacy organization for the business community. So that's where my loyalties lie. It is where his loyalties should lie. He was a partner at Ohio's first African-American lobbying firm. So there are tells on his resume that show you that he is all in on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But he also knows he has to be careful because the President of the United States says they will deny federal funding to any endeavor that continues to traffic in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'll quote from the story. Derek Clay said, it is vital in order for local businesses to succeed to have DEI. If the values ingrained in DEI initiatives are important to the bottom line of this economy, then Clay said the chamber has to find ways to support the businesses that need to continue promoting them. The straw man argument in there is if the values ingrained in DEI initiatives are important to the bottom line of this economy. They are not. They are not important. They are not germane. They are not significant to it at all. And he goes on to parrot the lie that multiple businesses in Ohio are dependent on immigrant workers, both those who come to the United States legally and illegally. We're not going to find much receptivity on the federal level to making the case that the Columbus, Ohio economy must continue to benefit from illegal immigration, Mr. Clay. And I would not think you would want to put your organization in that crosshair of the Trump administration. I would think you would not want to be the bullseye advocating for this openly. I fully expect you to continue to push it privately, continue to try to hide it, just as Ohio's colleges are, which we'll get into next. But Derek Clay also goes on to say, many successful farming operations depend on foreign workers. Speaking as someone who lives rurally and who knows a ton of farmers and the counties in which the majority of Ohio's farms are located, that is an utterly stupid statement.
This afternoon, brief shower or two and a high today, 49. Partly cloudy, breezy evening tonight. It'll be chilly, low down to 31. Windy day tomorrow, some clouds and sun. High tomorrow at 52. And then some sunny clouds, breezy day on Saturday, high at 43. Start to finish on Sunday, going to be a cold one. Sunshine on Sunday afternoon, high at 35. Partly sunny Monday, high 43. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, my name is Justin Petrichor. I'm Julian Petrichor. We run Alpha Waste Service. We offer front-load dumpsters as well as roll-off dumpsters for local residents and businesses. Our prices are set at flat fixed rates. The price we give is the price you'll pay. We don't force our customers into contracts unless they want one. We keep our customers by providing quality service at affordable prices. If you need a front-load or roll-off dumpster, please visit alphawasteservice.com.
Again, that's alphawasteservice.com.
Hi, it's Bruce Hooley with exciting news from MyPillow. They are having their first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. You can save 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen sizes start at $59.98. King size starts at $69.98. You can also save 30% on the brand new My Crosses. These are designed in the likeness of the one Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. Yes, they come in men's and women's, and they are made right here in the USA. You can also get a 2025 six-piece My Towel set for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they're gone. And the best-selling standard My Pillow, it's just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Bruce. That's mypillow.com and use the promo code Bruce. Now, I know what you're thinking. You have to order $75 or more to get free shipping. Nope, that ship has sailed, because right now every order ships absolutely free. Go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Bruce.
For many out on the streets with no address, when the hope dies, it's hard to be found.
You get these people off our streets now.
It's not that simple. They're human beings. Where are they meant to go?
Homelessness could happen to anyone.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Their story is our story.
You never know in life why things work out the way they do. Never give up.
No Address, starring William Baldwin, Ashanti, and Ty Pennington. In theaters this Friday. Get your tickets at noaddressmovie.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save families up to $500 a month, and obviously that's a big deal, but they like it too, especially being part of something that reflects their values instead of working against them. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. Find out more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Put it on your calendar right now so you don't miss it. And I'd buy my tickets in advance if I were you, because the longer you wait, the greater the chance you might get shut out of the next big station event here from 98.9 The Answer. We are going to get together on Friday night, April the 25th at Der Dutchman Restaurant in Plain City. Boy, that's going to be a great night, because not only will you feast on a Der Dutchman buffet, but hopefully you will get your intellect fed as robustly by a conversation on stage between myself, our own Jack Windsor, and special guest Larry Elder. Yes, I buried the lead. Larry Elder, the sage of South Central, the guy who mans the airwaves here at Salem Radio Network every single night from 6 p.m. on. Larry Elder is going to be there. Get your tickets at 989theanswer.com. Doors open at 6. Buffet dinner at 6:30. The program starts at 7. An evening with Larry Elder, April the 25th. Der Dutchman. Buy your tickets, 989theanswer.com. So Donald Trump, one of his first executive orders, outlawed DEI and threatened to withhold federal funding for those who continued to elevate diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether it's on an academic campus, whether it's in a federal agency, whether it is in any endeavor throughout the United States. This, of course, was buttressed by a Supreme Court ruling, 2 years ago in the summer? North Carolina and Harvard lost a case before the Supreme Court where the Supreme Court said affirmative action is illegal. Can't do it. But of course, this has become a long-held value on the left that we have to have people considered for employment, not based upon their ability, but based upon their immutable characteristics, whether they're a woman or whether they are Black or whether they are Hispanic or whether they are Asian. Now, I'll admit a personal bias on this issue, because when I was hired at the Cleveland Plain Dealer in 1987, I went in for my interview in August, and everything went great. Met with the executive editor, met with the sports editor. And when I left, I was told, you know what, you're our guy. So I waited for the phone call to confirm it. Didn't come. All through September. All through October. Finally, on the last weekend of October, I got a call and offered me the job. And I'm like, I was expecting this call sooner. And they said, oh, we had to interview 18 minorities and certify with the National Labor Relations Board why you were the best candidate. We've been working through that paperwork. 1987, folks. So throughout my career at the Plain Dealer, I saw people who were less talented than more qualified candidates given jobs they were not qualified for solely on the basis of their race or their sex. I saw people violate journalistic ethics, including a guy who, I gotta be careful here so I don't identify him, covered one of the 3 professional sports teams up there, who would get tickets from players, resell the tickets, pocket the money himself, highly unethical, but nothing happened to him. And I think you can all guess why. Okay, so I love that Trump says we're going to return to meritocracy in the United States, because I am waiting. Anybody's welcome. Make your case on email. Come to the event. We'll talk to Larry Elder about this on April the 25th. We'll talk to Larry Elder about this. The man who has been branded the black face of white supremacy when he ran for governor of LA. Larry Elder does not have his job at Salem Media because he's Black. Larry Elder has his job at Salem Media because he's great. Okay? He's just great at what he does. And that's what the standard should be for everything. But in Ohio and everywhere else, it is a grift in academia that you have to balance. Well, we don't have any women. Well, we don't have any of this. We don't have any of that. We don't have any the other. And so Trump just came in and was like, we're done with this. And of course, the pendulum, as I've said many times before, The left never holds a victory party, so they push and push and push and push and push and push and push. And eventually you get to the point where you have hired so many people based upon something other than their ability that your business suffers, that your test scores suffer, that your performance overall, either your bottom line or your graduation rates, your reading proficiency, your math proficiency declines because you're not insisting on excellence in your hiring, and therefore you get less excellence, whether it's in the production of a widget or whether it is in the teaching of students. So universities now are nervous enough about Trump's targeting of DEI programs and the threat he's holding over their heads that he'll remove their federal funding if they don't get rid of DEI to act. Does it mean they're going to act and actually get rid of DEI? Probably not. What they're going to do is what a lot of colleges in the state of Ohio have already done, more than have complied, just go about their business renaming their DEI initiatives in the hope that they won't be caught. Sheridan Hendricks, Columbus Dispatch. Ashland University has renamed its Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Excellence to the Office of Community and Belonging. Oh, wonderful. Kent State University closed its standalone Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion division, but merged its human resources and DEI offices to create the Division of People, Culture, and Belonging. Ohio State has not shuttered its DEI department, although 2 administrators have left in recent weeks. Miami University in Oxford changed the name of its Office of Institutional Diversity and Inclusion to the Office of Transformational and Inclusive Excellence. University of Akron also renamed its Office of Inclusion and Equity to the Office of Community Engagement, Opportunity, and Belonging. They're not going to comply with this order until they are forced to comply with this order. The amount of money that these schools are wasting on this utter nonsense. I ask a simple question. Tell me how you're better as a business, as a school, as anything. Tell me how you are better when you hire someone who is not the absolute best candidate for the job. If you find that a hiring manager is discriminating against a certain group of people, then come down with the wrath of as stiff a punishment as you possibly can upon them, because meritocracy should not be buttressed by racism or sexism or any other ism. But you must. We have had a 40-year slide into mediocrity in our country because we do not hire the absolute best people. We hire people that make us feel good about who we're hiring, and hope we don't introduce so much poison to the system that eventually it costs us.
With SRN News, I'm Ed Thomason. He is not backing down. President Trump says tariffs on Canada and Mexico will start on schedule next Tuesday. Ukraine is on the agenda as Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer visits Washington today for talks with President Trump at the White House. Israel's released hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the bodies of 4 hostages who had been held by Hamas in Gaza. Phase 1 of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal is now complete. Attorney General Pam Bondi says today the Justice Department probably will release files on the late convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Bondi spoke with Fox News. Foul play not suspected, according to authorities, in the death of legendary actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and a dog. Their bodies were found in their New Mexico home during a welfare check. The Dow's up 319 points.
Conference yesterday,
Yeah.
and that's basically what they were talking about. Was just
hearing the word
changing the
IRS
language
people
so they can
break
hide
out in a
it and
cold
still get
sweat.
funding.
No one wants to
Yep.
deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Opinion, here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer, mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
This is Josh Pick with Aptus Wealth Management. The U.S. and the world have certainly changed a lot in the last few years. We're facing many dangers that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. We're not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. And don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is provided at $1 and it pays at the of our tuition. We're proud to serve our troops. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters at this station.
He's one of the top 10 radio hosts in the country. And now, for another, you need to spend part of your day with our quality hosts of the Hooley Show. Weekday mornings,
9890theanswer.com, a great place for you to go. You can buy your tickets to the Larry Elder event coming up on Friday, April the 25th. You can also access the Discount Shopping Club via the shopping tab at 9890theanswer.com. Half-price tuition is now available for the 2025-2026 school year at a great school, Ohio Christian University. I've had the pleasure of being down to OCU a couple of times, spoke there once. Boy, great facilities, and that place is going places, let me tell you. Lots of land down there for expansion, lots of excitement down in Circleville about OCU. If you're a student looking for a place where they really care about you individually and where you will be developed with a biblical worldview, OCU is a great place to go. You can get a $5,000 Ohio Christian University scholarship in the Discount Shopping Club by spending just $2,500. That is a great place for you to discover your future. Also, other deals on furnaces, mattresses, and other items that may be of import to you. Check it out in the Discount Shopping Club at 9890theanswer.com. So Elon Musk just, I guess you don't tweet on X anymore. I guess you X. He said hundreds of federal workers are being promoted daily every time we encounter excellence. The Doge team will be more clear about this. The goal is to make the federal government a meritocracy as much as possible. This is in response to a tweet that I saw yesterday that I think, well, an X that I saw yesterday that what do I do? Do I re-exit? I don't know. Anyway, I reposted it, okay? Where Michelle Tafoya, who used to be sideline reporter for ESPN and ABC Sports. Now she does a conservative podcast, which means a Common Sense podcast. She had posted yesterday to Elon Musk and Donald Trump, here's an idea. For every 1,000 federal workers fired, promote 10 each week who are exceptional or underappreciated. Highlight it on social media. Give them a bonus, maybe a trip to the Oval Office. Counter the negative narrative. Yes, the mainstream media is all aghast at the emphasis on meritocracy. Makes sense, doesn't it? When you look at who's in the mainstream media, and when you look at how bad they are, Jake Tapper scolding Lara Trump for saying that Joe Biden is cognitively compromised, and then Jake Tapper, Mr. Truth Teller on CNN, releasing a book about how Joe Biden was compromised. Margaret Brennan of CBS saying that too much free speech is what allowed the Nazis to flourish in the era of Adolf Hitler. Nora O'Donnell, who is such a ridiculous partisan, she's lost her gig at CBS. Scott Pelley, who is really like Ted Baxter from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, come back to life. Joy Reid, fired the other day by MSNBC. And she, of course, was fired, according to coworker Rachel Maddow, because MSNBC, which plays the race card on everything related to Republicans, if they fire a black host who is an idiot, the only reason they would possibly fire Joy Reid is not because of her lousy ratings, but because, of course, MSNBC, according to Rachel Maddow, is itself racist. So we see in media this pushback on hiring for merit. Of course we do. None of the people in major media positions at legacy media outlets got their position because they're really great at what they do. What happens to people who are really great at what they do, who work for those outlets? What happens to people like Catherine Herridge? What happens to people like James Rosen? What happens to people like Megyn Kelly? They get fired. They get marginalized. They get diminished. They get disparaged. And then they go on and they latch on with somebody else, Rosen with Newsmax, Catherine Herridge, Megyn Kelly, establishing their own powerful platforms independently. Of course the left hates meritocracy because they can't play that card. Now, it does appear that the Supreme Court may, in addition to its prior ruling, outlawing affirmative action, which was state-sanctioned racism, the Supreme Court may side with an Ohio woman, her name is Marlene Ames, who worked at a correctional institution, a youth correctional institution in Massillon. So she worked for the Ohio Department of Youth Services. She took her case to the Supreme Court because she believes she was denied a promotion in her job because she was straight. She was not gay. A lower court ruling denied her suit because it said, the lower court ruling said, that she had not shown to the degree that she needed to as a white heterosexual female, that she was disadvantaged enough. Now, if she had been gay, she could have pleaded this case that, hey, I didn't get the job because I was gay, and they would have heard it. But the standard in Ohio, how crazy is this? I'll read right from the Akron Beacon Journal. Her attorney argued in court on Wednesday before the justices that Ames faced bias under a requirement of Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which sets a higher legal standard for people from majority backgrounds to prove bias in the workplace than for minority groups. Do you understand what that means, right? I know. I just forget for a second that Lady Justice is blind. Forget for a second that we're all entitled to, what is that word again? All right, equal protection under the law. We have a 1964 Civil Rights Act, Title VII of which says if you're white and you're heterosexual, those two would be majority groups. You don't have an intersectionality card to play. You're not Asian, you're not Hispanic, you're not black, you're not Ethiopian, you're not two-spirit, you're not queer, you're not bi, you're not trans. You're just normal, average, run-of-the-mill white person. The 1964 Civil Rights Act says there is a higher legal standard for you to meet in order to prove that you have been treated with bias in the workplace. So she just went to court with a very simple contention that the higher standard for me because I'm white and heterosexual is unconstitutional. Because doesn't our Constitution say all men are created equal? All men? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? So, crazy. Now, the justices, in hearing the case yesterday, seem very receptive to her case. And it is believed that the ruling will come down and it will be 9-0 in her favor. Yes! Even Ketanji Brown Jackson, the person on the court who can't define what a woman is, said that the standards for a higher burden on a majority group, white, heterosexual, place too heavy a burden on plaintiffs at the start of their lawsuit. Now, not every federal appeals court applies this standard, but legal experts say that half of the appeals courts in Ohio do apply it. And it's so hilarious to me. Writing in the Akron Beacon Journal, or maybe I have it in the wrong newspaper. Yeah, here it is. This is USA Today. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit said in 1981 that while white people are covered by the Civil Rights Act, it defied common sense to suggest that the promotion of a black employee justifies an interference of prejudice against white coworkers in our present society. In other words, remember when they said if you're white, you can't even speak about racism? That's what this court ruling from 1981 said. It said if you're white, you can't even think about suing for prejudice because white people can't possibly be treated with prejudice. Now, Miss Ames got phenomenal job reviews in her role as an executive secretary. And she applied for a promotion at the Indian River Juvenile Correction Facility in Massillon. And she didn't get the job. A gay woman became her supervisor. There's only one strange occurrence. The gay woman hadn't applied for the job. None of the applicants for the job got the job. A gay woman got the job. And then a couple of years later, Miss Ames applied for another promotion, and none of the applicants for that job got the job. Another gay woman got the job. So it seems to be a history here of discriminating against her because she is a heterosexual woman. I'm telling you, this DEI thing is a parasite. We're going to have to root it out everywhere.
This afternoon, brief shower, 49. Partly cloudy, breezy evening tonight. It'll be chilly, low down to 31. Windy day tomorrow, some clouds and sun. High tomorrow at 52. And then some sunny clouds, breezy day on Saturday, high at 43. Start to finish on Sunday, going to be cold with sunshine on Sunday afternoon. High at 35.
What do we got this Sunday?
Partly sunny Monday.
Well, we had a caller say they really cared so much about equity and have the even amount of white guys on the football team.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
Say, well, they're just not as good.
Yeah.
Well, that's
the point. Yes, exactly.
First, does chronic pain in your knees, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Jogging. time with the family. Does it fit doing the things you used to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answer yes to any,
I also got my pillow.
Okay, thanks.
Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number. Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
Hey, Carl Jackson here from Dennis Prager. While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segment from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, and his famous Torah teachings and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com, Pragertopia.com.
High school juniors and seniors, your future starts now. It's Ohio Christian University's preview day on Thursday, March 6th. At OCU, you're part of a supportive community where faith shapes your education and your future. With biblically based programs, affordable tuition, generous scholarships, and caring professors, you'll grow both academically and spiritually. The deadline to sign up is February 27th. Visit ohiochristian.edu/visit to register today. Ohio Christian University, your faith, your future, your college.
Hi everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
My Pillow prices are customer friendly. Wow, are they ever? The first mega sale ever at mypillow.com. Across the board, prices slashed. Typically, you can occasionally get a MyPillow standard size for under $15, and typically you can get some Giza Dream bed sheets for under $60, and typically you can get MyPillow towel sets under $30. But now you can get all of those, and typically you can get free shipping on orders of $75 or more. But now the mega sale affords you the opportunity to get all of those deals, including on the Giza Dream bed sheets, a queen size set for under $60. And get shipping free no matter what you order. Imagine you could order a king size MyPillow for under $20 and have it shipped free right to your house. The shipping is always what gets you, right? When you go to check out, you're like, oh man, I thought I had a great deal until they added the shipping. Well, there will be no added shipping on. It's a mega sale at MyPillow, and you'll get those prices when you use my promo code Bruce. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America, says sometime today, details of some sort are going to be released on the Jeffrey Epstein client list. Now, I think what we're going to get are flight logs on Epstein's planes to his island, which was dubbed Lolita Island. Jeffrey Epstein, who, wink, wink, hung himself in prison when he was arrested for basically running a underage girl prostitution ring for himself, the rich and powerful. His associate in that, Ghislaine Maxwell, is still doing time in prison. She was sentenced to 20 years for her role in trafficking underage girls. Pam Bondi, here she is, talking about the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs, details of which she says some of them will be released today.
200 victims, 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
There have been many names linked to Jeffrey Epstein, including a prominent local name here in Columbus, Ohio. Bill Clinton's name has been linked to him. Bill Gates' name has been linked to him. There have been others, many others. So we'll see today. Epstein, I'm not going to say what this story says. Epstein, let's say, died in 2019 while in federal custody. I wasn't suspicious at all, right? The two guards who were watching Jeffrey Epstein both conveniently fell asleep at the same time and he hung himself in his cell. That's the story. There are assessments of Jeffrey Epstein's manner of death that I think it was forensic pathologist Michael Bodden, who was big in the O.J. Simpson case, who said that the way Jeffrey Epstein died was not consistent with what he theoretically did in his cell by hanging himself. So we'll see. We'll see who else's name comes up. There was a report earlier in the week that FBI agents, a whistleblower from the FBI, said that FBI agents were shredding documents related to the Epstein files and related to the John F. Kennedy assassination, now that Donald Trump said he was going to declassify both, and that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said she was going to release the Epstein files first and then followed by the JFK and then later on by Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King's assassinations. So we'll see if we actually get those details or if we do not. Now, we talked a lot about diversity, equity, and inclusion in this hour and how it's embedded and how the new head of the Columbus Chamber of Commerce is all about it. And he makes the blanket statement that you can't have a great economy unless you have diversity, equity, and inclusion. He offers no evidence of that, of course, because in fairness to the man, there is no evidence for it. The Utah legislature is providing a template, I think, for how we can get past this kind of utter mind virus, because it is diversity, equity, and inclusion is a tentacle of the same mind virus that has allowed the LGBTQ lobby to flourish, that has allowed the craziness of the transgender lobby to flourish. Imagine we ever get to the point in the United States of America where people would actually try to make a plausible argument, would come out and own a position that a parent should not have the right to parent their child if their child, their male or female child, is under the impression that they are not a male but a female, or not a female but a male. That there would be people who would actually take the position that no, the parent shouldn't have any authority in that, and we can take the kid away from the parent if the parent doesn't entertain, affirm the idea. So in Utah, they're considering a bill that could be a major switch in American higher education. It would require every student at Utah State University to take a full 1.5-year course in Western civilization and an additional 1-semester course in American civics. This is a phenomenal idea. A phenomenal idea. And it smacks of the same kind of things that Jerry Serino's bill wants to do here, Senate Bill 1, in the state of Ohio. Because the way we get to the point where transgenderism and the LGBTQ and from the river to the sea chants proliferate on our college campuses is that kids do not have an accurate picture in their minds of how special the United States of America is, how unique our founding was, how brilliant our founding is. They just don't have it. And they don't have it because they haven't been taught it, because it's been for the better part of, 20 years that we've just utterly and totally divorced it from our teaching. First at the high school level, first at the college level, and then at the high school level, and now at the junior high level. So we've got to get back to that. That's a great idea. It's a great way, because this is going to be a long war getting rid of DEI. A long, long, long war. Now, there's very sad news in the entertainment industry. I'm personally saddened by this, even though he's a Democrat. The actor Gene Hackman was found dead in his home yesterday. Gene Hackman hadn't acted in a movie in a long time. He's 95 years old, Gene Hackman. His wife was 64. They were found dead in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, along with their dog. This sounds like a gas leak in the house to me, or carbon monoxide or something like that. But Gene Hackman, even though he was a Democrat, he was not as vile and disgusting in public here recently as another great actor, Robert De Niro, or Barbara Streisand, or others. But man, Gene Hackman, what a career this guy had. He was Lex Luthor in Superman. I don't remember that. I do remember him as a bad actor, Secretary of Defense in No Way Out with Kevin Costner. He was in The Firm. Remember, he was like one of the insiders at Bendini, Lambert and Locke. He got they drugged him and used him to get some important details for the Tom Cruise character in that. But of course, Gene Hackman, his best role, in my estimation, was as head coach Norman Dale in Hoosiers. So many memorable lines in that movie. None more memorable than, what would it be, Jeff? The top two lines in that movie. Would it be where Gene Hackman measures the basket from the rim to the floor and he says 10 feet? What is it, Ollie? 10 feet? I think you'll find the dimensions are the exact same as those of our gym back in Hickory. It's either that or the locker room speech where everybody gets done and they talk about wanting to win one for all the small schools and all that. The preacher reads the David and Goliath passage. Gene Hackman, they all put their hands in and he goes, I love you guys.
Hi, my name is Justin Petrichor. I'm Julian Petrichor. We run Alpha Waste Service. We offer front-load dumpsters as well as roll-off dumpsters for local residents and businesses. Our prices are set at flat fixed rates. The price we give is the price you'll pay.
We don't force our customers into contracts unless they want one. We keep our customers by providing quality service at affordable prices.
If you need a front load or roll-off dumpster, please visit alphawasteservice.com.
Again, that's alphawasteservice.com.
Hi, this is Ralph Drollinger, the founder and president of Capital Ministries. I have the privilege of leading the Senate and House member Bible studies in Washington, D.C. every week. And I'm also the host of the new weekly radio program heard here on this station called Capital Ministries Weekend. I invite you to listen along every week as we discuss the crossroads between what the Bible says and political thought for today.
Listen to Capital Ministries Weekend, Sunday mornings at 7:30 on 98.9 FM The Answer.
Find us at 9890theanswer.com. Download our apps and stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer arriving at the White House this hour for talks with President Trump. Here's White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
Starmer is the second European leader to come here this week and meet with the president about his push to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The British Prime Minister, along with the French president and others, are concerned that the U.S. might concede too much to Russia in negotiations. Starmer also announced plans this week for the U.K. to bolster defense spending, something that should please Donald Trump. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And tomorrow, Mr. Trump will be hosting Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. President Trump says he plans to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting next Tuesday, in addition to doubling the 10% universal tariff charged on imports from China. Also at townhall.com, the president getting a temporary reprieve from the United States Supreme Court over a lower court order to repay some $2 billion to U.S. aid. Ben Thomas has more.
Chief Justice John Roberts saying the court needs a chance to weigh in more fully. The lower court ruling came after nonprofit groups and businesses filed a lawsuit challenging the administration's aid freeze. That followed one of President Trump's executive orders targeting what he called wasteful programs. The Trump administration says it's eliminating more than 90% of USAID's foreign aid contracts and $60 billion in overall U.S. assistance around the world. Ben Thomas, Washington.
FBI accuses the North Korean-backed hackers in a massive crypto heist from a firm in Dubai. North Korea has reportedly stolen an estimated $1.2 billion in cryptocurrency and other virtual assets in the last 5 years. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Cloudy skies this afternoon, brief shower or two, and our high today 49. Partly cloudy, breezy evening tonight. It'll be chilly, low down to 31. Windy day tomorrow, some clouds and sun. High tomorrow at 52. And then some sunny clouds, a breezy day on Saturday, high at 43. Start to finish on Sunday, going to be cold with sunshine on Sunday afternoon, high at 35. Partly sunny Monday, high 43. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Yes, Hoosiers. I really like that movie.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177.
Will Smith is good.
With SRN Sports, I'm George Williams. In NCAA men's top 25 college basketball action last night, a thrilling finish between 8th-ranked Michigan State and number 16 Maryland. It was a 3-point buzzer beater from just past half court to give Michigan State the win, 58-55. The winning hoop also gives the Spartans a half-game lead over Michigan in the Big Ten Conference rankings. And elsewhere, it was top-ranked Auburn defeating Ole Miss 106-76, more than 30 points there. And then you had the 7th-ranked St. John's defeating Butler by 6 points. By 2 points, Vanderbilt upsets number 12 Texas A&M 86-84. 13th-ranked Clemson a winner over Notre Dame by 1 point. 17th-ranked Kentucky defeats Oklahoma. Number 22 Arizona a winner over Utah, and BYU defeats Arizona State. NHL, Avalanche over the Devils, Canucks beat the Kings, Jets over the Senators. This is SRN Sports. NBA action last night. A number of games with Thunder over the Nets. The Clippers defeated the Bulls. It was the Kings over the Jazz. The Rockets down the Spurs. Then the Pistons upended the Celtics. Pacers winners over the Raptors. Kings defeated the 76ers. Trailblazers over the Wizards. And it was the Heat over the Hawks. The NFL is considering changing its overtime rules, among other rules changes that they'll be evaluating when the owners meet next week. Receiving the ball first has become more of an advantage than in pre-2011 games when overtime was sudden death, or for those who remember old Kurt Gowdy in sports broadcasting, he wanted to change sudden death to sudden victory. Anyway, both teams currently have an opportunity to possess the ball in overtime unless a touchdown is scored in the first possession. NFL wants to adapt the postseason rules that allow the defending team additional opportunities to try to...
Thanks for joining. Live stream ends at the top of the hour. Hope you guys have a great day.
For many on the
And we
streets
will
with no
see you tomorrow.
address. When
Have a
the
good
hope
one.
dies, it's hard to be found.